Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 3 of season 3 of the F123 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in Albert Park, Australia. Of course, returning once again to the land down under. If you missed out yesterday's video from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Of course, you know, opening 2 races this season have been very, very interesting. More and more Audi upgrades, though, coming onto the car, as you can see there. Alpine and McLaren, though, have actually made quite a leap forward as well. And we're waiting on 4 more upgrades ready for Shanghai next time out. They're including 2 Ultimate and 2 Majors there, which should push us pretty much in line with Aston Martin. There is a huge development race going on inside this series, as every team is trying to scramble to recover lost data and time off of last year's cars. But of course, you know, if you're new around here and you are enjoying this series, it'd be greatly appreciated if you would click that subscribe button, obviously down below. Sergio Perez leading the Drivers' Championship there ahead of Sainz and Charles Leclerc, and I don't think we've ever seen Max Verstappen as low down as 4th in the Drivers' Championship inside F123 at any point. We've scored 6 points to our name so far. They're currently sat in 8th place, but we need to try and hang close to Aston Martin over the next few weekends, and as well, I want to see Albon start to score some points. But anyway, let's get into it though. Australian Grand Prix. I'm looking forward to this one. Diving right in then with qualifying, and I won't lie, Bahrain and Saudi were not tracks I was worried about track limits. Australia absolutely is. These are the kind of venues that are why I want to try and learn strict corner cutting again inside F123. Australia, I think, is actually one of the harshest tracks inside F123. You know, there's no room for error here, and a lot of very high commitment corners where you've got to carry the speed through, and apparently a lot of corners like that as well, where you even as much as look at the curb, and, you know, 2 wheels were definitely in the white lines there. I'm going to try and be really cheeky then and save up some fuel and battery to actually go for a second attempt here in Q1. Ideally don't want to have to use 2 sets of tyres, but we are going to be tight for fuel by the time we get round to the end of this one. We're going to have, yeah, about 1/4 of a lap still in the tank, as we have as well, luckily, got a relative to go up against. But of course, it's not going to be very accurate once we get into the second half of the lap. Well, I think I need to be about 4 seconds up as we head out of the final corner, so can't have a look at the delta just yet, but we still get a rough idea, 4.4 up as we make our way out of the final turn. So this might be a decent representative then for a first proper lap. 7th place? I will absolutely take it. I tell you what, not only are we looking competitive, Alex Albon was able to get into the 15s at the end of Q1, so we might have 2 cars here capable of making it into Q3. Going out then for my first lap here of Q2. If we make Q3, I'll be incredibly happy, but I'd want to make sure we're hitting consistent, clean laps. That was scary as we head out of the S's. Pretty much on the white line there. And like I said, Australia is a very harsh track for track limits. Often in a lot of corners, you'll have 2 wheels pushed up near the white line rather than on it or over it, and it'll still give you a penalty. But, you know, I know a lot of you probably very happy that we've enabled the strict track limits again. And yeah, League Racing, like I said, will be returning to my second channel. But up over the line, 16.4 that time. We still go quicker than Albon, but a couple of tenths away from the top 10. One last run then here in Q2. Not convinced we'll make Q3. We're going to need a very quick lap time there, but intrigued to see what other times people are going to be able to set. Just don't bottle it, just don't invalidate. Out of the final corner, that's been a pretty damn good lap if I do say so myself. 7 tenths up as we head up over the line, and that should be us locked into Q3, a 15.6. It's P7 again. Well, I'm pretty certain it's the identical 10 that made it through into Q3 last weekend in in Saudi Arabia even. But, I mean, yeah, Sainz on a 15 exactly. We're actually challenging the Red Bulls here and the Mercedes. Could we get a really big result if I nail this final run? Well, our big three teams reminding us why they're known as the big three teams. Piastri now is the target on a 1:15.5. Only got one shot. We've got to make this lap count, as that was a little bit sketchy into turn 1. Norris, Gasly on a 15.8 and a 15.9 respectively. So I absolutely want to be beating them. Out of the final corner, it's felt hooked up, but it hasn't felt as quick as Q2. 15.9, I think is P10. I don't think we beat anyone there. That's frustrating, I won't lie. Well, a 15.5 wouldn't have been good enough in the end there. Oscar Piastri really proving that he can match those top 6, but Perez, a 14.4. Ridiculous lap times coming out of those Red Bulls right when it mattered there. Hamilton will line up P3 behind them, but can we see Checo? We've said it every season early on. Will he be able to mount a charge?
You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. So here we are at Albert Park Circuit, 3.28 miles around, with the streets making for a bumpy surface with little undulation. There are 14 corners around the lake, with the best passing opportunities coming at turn 1 and turn 3. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Sainz, Russell, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Gasly, Mr. Monaco, Magnussen, Ocon, Albon, Bottas, Joe, Liam Lawson, Stroll, Teo Porcher, De Vries, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, and Logan Sargent. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Well, yep, definitely want to be trying to be consistent point scorers this series, and starting inside the top 10 today, I absolutely think that could be reality as well there. But like I said, you know, over the race distance, we're going to have to be so careful of track limits here. Mediums to hards looks like the way to go. Magnussen and Ocon behind us, though, going aggressive. So come proper race start, we're going to have to make sure that we get this nailed, otherwise we're going to be under a lot of pressure. Gasly didn't. Well, I never know whether that's an omen to if the AI are going to get a bad start in the proper one, but 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. So a lot of wheel spin off of the launch. Charles Leclerc going nowhere, though. Sorry to Pierre Gasly there. I thought Leclerc went one way and then went the other down towards someone, so we absolutely banged wheels with Pierre off the first corner. We're going to get a mega run, though, as we head 3 wide off of turn 1. Gasly, just see that Alpine using all of its superior grunt and torque off the turns, though, with Charles Leclerc trying to come back at me in towards the next couple of corners, but I will absolutely relegate him there. Yeah, Leclerc kind of went left into the middle of the road, so I went to the right-hand side of him, and then he kind of moved back over the other way, so I was kind of left at the last moment. I had to jump out of the way there, and of course you never really want to slam on the brakes like that on the run down towards turn 1, so we just slapped wheels with Pierre Gasly. Is okay. Ferrari straightlinespeed.com, where has that come from? Starting to see now why we were losing so much time over a qualifying lap, but kept it clean and tidy off of the start here. Almost got a warning through turn 5, I think, but luckily we got away with that one. As we can see, Ocon and Albon right behind us as well. Magnussen clearly has not had a good start as one of the other Ferrari. Carlos Sainz from 4th to the lead on the opening lap here, so Sainz has done well to move himself up the roster. But yeah, as we wind our way through the final couple of corners, let's be fair, we know the drill here. It's going to be trying to hang on to the DRS of the cars in front. And with Leclerc with that kind of straight line speed, we might prepare to say goodbye quite quickly. Yellow's out already on just lap 2. Is that a front runner that's got issues, or is it a car behind me? It is. It's one of the Mercs. I think it's Lewis. Lewis Hamilton out already of the Australian Grand Prix, and it was his teammate last weekend who had a really early mechanical failure. This time around, though, sorry, his former teammate, isn't it? Valtteri Bottas, as Ocon around the outside of us. We have not got good top-end speed here. I can already tell that early on. But still, of course, inside the points as Hamilton, yep, I'm sure we'll be asking Mercedes questions. Here goes Alex Albon down the inside. On the one hand, that's annoying. On the other hand, nice to see him with a bit of fight as Gasly defending from Leclerc, and they'll all drop back into Ocon's clutches.
I've got information on Albon for you.
No!
With their car, they're going to be slow.
Albon already, apparently with some mechanical gremlins here, as Leclerc and Gasly again bang wheels down at turn 3. Clearly no love lost between these two, as Ocon again just waiting in the wings. I've noticed as well, it was quite funny, Gasly and Leclerc seem to do quite a lot of stuff together outside of Formula 1. Ocon never seems included in those things. I have a feeling that they're not a particular fan of, well, at least Gasly's fellow Frenchman, but I know obviously Monaco, France, not technically the same country, but pretty codependent, of course. Anyway, yeah, we haven't quite got enough that time round, as Gasly already holding up a bit of a train there as we almost understeer wide, but Albon now creating some breathing room behind me there as Leclerc down the outside again at Gasly. Is he going to be able to pull it off this time round? Gasly's got to give him the room, and I think Charlie Boy might do it. Yeah, Gasly just backs out of that one, picks and chooses his battles. Oh, big lock up there as I wanted to get down the inside of Ocon, but I'm just not brave enough. Charles Leclerc doing a very, very good job at the moment of dragging Ocon, Gasly, and myself back up to Piastri and Lando Norris, and I can't help but imagine that McLaren are looking at the, you know, the good work that Oscar's putting in at the moment, and kind of wishing they kept on to him a lot longer than they have. I genuinely believe within the next sort of year or two, once Oscar is fully integrated in F1, McLaren are going to have one of the best lineups if they can keep hold of them both. Because I see Lando and Oscar as two proper world champion pieces of material. But yeah, Gasly loses the DRS to Charles in front of him. Could see a bit of Alpine civil war here, which I'd certainly pay for a first front of house seat ticket for. Can try and get my words out. I've just got to think about every single one apparently, but we've actually done really well through the chicane that time round. I'll be able to get a run on Esteban Ocon, peel out of the slipstream last minute, hit a huge bump there as Ocon tries to pinch me. Not having that, mate. Muscle him out slightly, but yeah, he really did want to pinch me there to the inside. And that's what I mean about the warnings. First one of the day. We weren't on the white line, we weren't over the white line, but still gives you a warning round here. Turn 2 and turn 6, 7 really, I suppose, are the worst ones for it. So that was almost a second warning there, as too busy watching Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc side by side at the road. We need to close in on that gaggle. Unfortunately, it seems like this was quite a stupid idea to go past Ocon where we did, because now we've both lost the DRS. Leclerc is still dragging cars along in front, so no, I don't think, again, a bit like Saudi, I don't think we were ever going to have the pace to match Piastri, but, you know, Gasly and Norris there getting a bit of a free pass further up the road. Although, that being said, Leclerc is slowly opening that gap up. We'll wait and see as well. That's a little bit wide. Luckily, no warning. Here we go. Ocon, well, trying to look back down the inside there as we actually nick the grass on the outside, trying to make sure we give him some room. Yeah, the Frenchman clearly starting to feel a little bit stuck behind me. I'm tempted again to go for an undercut. I'm using Australia from co-op as kind of my rough estimate, and I reckon if we box the end of the next lap we can get to the end. Oh, there we go. Norris and Gasly side by side down at turn 1 as well, so that's not only going to cost them time, but it also means that they've lost the DRS. I reckon now is our opportunity. If we box, we can try to undercut and either get to them or get round them, and that way we can fight him. Oh, Gasly Norris again. I can see him going side by side as I opted not to pit this time. Gonna box the end of this lap just so we're not going to lose as much tyre fall off towards the end of the race. Plus, with these two squabbling as much as they are, we're taking a fair bit of time out of them anyway. Looking at the mini-map though, I'm a little bit nervous about the traffic we'll come back into. There seems to be a huge gap between Ocon now. Sorry, Magnussen still, isn't it? At the back of our little train, and the Alfa Romeo, I can only assume it's Bottas, That's the next car back, so... I mean, I'd love to come out ahead of them, but that's not going to happen. As, yep, Gasly and Norris still within range, hopefully still squabbling. End of lap 11, though. This is definitely the time to dive into the pit lane. Mark just warning me that we're starting to struggle a little bit for tyre life, or we're going to start struggling for tyre life in the very near future as big attack into the pit lane. I did get the car slowed down enough. It was telling me 59, but it seemed to have worked itself out again as heading down into our pit box then. Come on, we need a good, clean, tidy stop here, boys. No. And that's going to set us. Look at the amount of traffic we've now come out behind because of that. That might be us in real trouble then for the rest of the afternoon, but even if... Oh, come on. The AI just stay out another couple of laps, we can try and make the gap back up. Push, push, push. I can see cars going side by side. Nick DeFries trying to make a move. I think that's on Zhou Guanyu. Just a couple of cars in front of me. No, it can't be. It's one of the Haas cars. I guess that's Stroll, who's struggling as well at the moment. But we've just got so much more grip. Fittipaldi there, slow off the corner. I shouldn't have gone to the outside. I really should have tried to get to the inside of Fittipaldi. The young Brazilian. What on earth is going... Sorry? I've made 3 overtakes around the outside there. And it was almost a 4th with Lance Stroll struggling. We'll switch him off the exit. And this whole gaggle of cars, I pretty much navigated them all there in the space of a couple of corners. Lawson's going to do me a solid, give me some DRS and jump out of the way. As we got one of the Alpines coming back out of pit lane. That is Ocon. So we've actually lost out to a car. No, Ocon... I can't remember if Ocon was in front or behind me. I think he was behind me. So that's painful, as that's even more painful. Second warning. We got no more escapes. Zhou Guanyu, though, as we head out onto the back straight, he's going to have nothing he can do to defend from us, I don't think, unless that Alfa Romeo has got some ridiculous top-end speed. We'll try and swoop around the outside. Oh, come on. Oh, I just had the confidence there that he wasn't going to try and keep the nose up the inside. He wouldn't have the braking performance. So we've got to get within the range of Ocon. We cannot afford to lose out here. Magnussen into the pit lane as well, so how much will the Dane have lost out in this whole process? Will he be ahead of me? Will he be behind me? That pit stop might really, really cost us looking back come the end of this one, as Magnussen is going to be out in front of me, but awkwardly in front of me. He's going to sit on the apex of turn 1. Can we try and switch him off the corner? Yes, we can. We'll go around the outside of the Aston Martin. We're still in the top 10. Here he goes, though, straight back to the inside of me. So we head down in towards turn 3. Whoa, banging wheels there. That's not too surprising, to be honest. Going with Kevin Magnussen, but Ocon, he's gone. He's checked out, and that might be the last we see of him. Gasly in the pit lane, as well as Lando Norris. So, I mean, Ocon might have actually done a really good job getting a jump on them, or at least being with them, ready for the second half of this Grand Prix, and thus the second half of the battle. Ocon, yeah, he's clean jumped him. So Ocon then, fantastic strategy by him. We're going to be out, actually, very, very close with Pierre as Magnussen. Oh, that's going to be a penalty. Just let off, I've got away with it. Oh, that was a bit scary. I thought that was going to be a penalty then for the first time this season. But now we've got to get in the range of Norris. Oh, here we go. I mean, look at the pace by Pierre Gasly there. Whoa, Magnussen into the back of me. So we head down in towards the final sector, and has the Aston Martin picked up front wing damage from doing that? Still got our final few cars peeling into the pit lane there. I think Oscar Piastri has now been jumped by Charles Leclerc, but Ocon, I'm 99% certain Ocon did exactly the same thing here last season, where he went for a big undercut and was able to jump quite a big group of cars. We've got to try and hang on to the DRS of Charlie. Boy, how that wasn't a penalty, I'll never know. But yeah, Magnussen is going to be hounding us in the second half of this, and that's hounding us, and then there's just going clean around the outside. We've got to wait for these tyres to come back to us. Magnussen, though, is really going for it. Eyeing up now a move on Pierre Gasly, so clearly has remembered that Aston Martin car is actually very, very quick and should be ahead of the Alpines and even Lando Norris just in front of him. Is Magnussen going to try a similar move to what he did to me? Will he be able to hook it up there? Almost contact, as Pierre Gasly clearly wants to put up more of a fight than I was willing to. As Magnussen, though, clean around the outside, he'll go. And can he drag us back to Lando Norris then in the second half of this race? Or are we going to see Gasly try to fight it again? Maybe help Esteban Ocon! Oh, no! That was always going to happen, but again, that's the second warning, I'm pretty certain, today. where I wasn't outside track limits, I'm pretty certain. Albert Park, Australia for you, ladies and gents. Of course, the other thing I could try and do is get past Gasly, push him outside of the DRS range of myself and Magnussen, and then hope that Magnussen can pull 3 seconds out on him in the second half of this GP. As right on the outside we'll go. Well, we got another free warning now, effectively. So I'm going to try and use that. And hello, 1 second to Gasly. I can't have said that plan and then it actually work out for me. I was kind of being half sarcastic, to be honest. But yeah, if we can hang in the DRS of Kevin, maybe we can get rid of Pierre behind there, as he's actually doing a good job at closing in on Lando Norris as well. As we round out the final corner, we've definitely got the DRS. I think Pierre Gasly does as well, though. But it seems like Magnussen is closing in on Lando. Oh, and Lando is closing in on Esteban Ocon here, with just a handful of laps to go with this Grand Prix. Gasly is dropping a little bit further away each and every lap, but I'm using so much battery just to try and stay in the range of Kevin Magnussen here. Ocon and Norris side by side back into turn 1. Oh no, that's my final warning again. If I get 6 seconds penalties, it is properly done. Oh, now I'm in trouble though. Magnussen, of course, picked up the DRS off of Lando and Esteban as they're going side by side. So maybe if they continue to slow each other down, but of course I don't want them to slow each other down too much. Otherwise Gasly will be able to get back in the range again. This is so confusing at the moment. Just wish I didn't have that 3-second penalty, but I've certainly taken enough warnings to warrant it now. Oh no, we've lost it. It's over. It's GG's. Unless they go side by side. Come on. 7 laps to go. Oh, dearie me. Oh no. Start at lap 24, little lock-up down at turn 1, and Gasly, yeah, goodbye my friend. Nothing we could do against Pierre there. 16 seconds back though to Bottas. That's kind of a mad gap late on in the day. Yeah, we definitely overworked these tyres slightly, and yeah, can't help but feel, you know, the likes of Alpine probably have had the better of us this weekend around another very high-speed circuit. Yeah, Magnussen as well. He flew past me. He's now finally gone past Ocon, but they didn't go side by side anywhere useful late on. So unless we get a mechanical failure for someone inside the top 10 or something happens, I don't see any way we're going to finish agonisingly close to the points. Ocon is definitely starting to struggle though right towards the end of this. His tyres now falling off because he's gone so far on the medium, so if we can try and get a run on Pierre Gasly here, which we absolutely are going to, keep draining the battery. Maybe we can try and get within the range of the second Frenchman by the time we get into the next zone there. I think he's just inside the DRS of Magnussen still, but yeah, maybe, no. Oh, dearie me, Matt, come on, get your head in the game. Shock him. I think we got another warning there as well, as Norris and Magnussen side by side. Yeah, I knew Australia was going to be tough, but may have just kind of sent it in there. Don't get another one, please. Oh, go on, Magnussen, Lando, Norris now side by side, really trying to cut each other off down at turn 1. I just cannot find the apex through that first corner anymore, as here goes Ocon again for the outside of the Dane. Or should Magnussen really be having these sorts of squabbles? He should never have really been behind us all in the first place today, as Ocon will barge him out, and we'll try and get down the inside of Kevin Magnussen. Round the outside through the next corner there. Had to be very, very confident that the Aston Martin wasn't going to turn in on me. But, I mean, could in all of this, you know, we'll ignore the penalties for a moment. Could we still get to the front of this group and showcase the pace that we could have had today there? So we'll try and steamroll down on the outside of the Alpine car there. We'll slot in front. 3 laps to go. Maybe we can try and get Lando Norris. I mean, it's all for nothing, of course. Those 6 seconds of penalties are going to absolutely wreck me, but yeah, you never know. Come on then, Lando Norris. Let's do it. Let's try and get up to 7th place then. The lofty heights, we've got yellow flags out. Someone's got issues. I think that might be... Oh, that's Magnussen behind us. That might explain why he struggled a bit all afternoon there. And that does mean we should still score a point when all is said and done. That was mighty aggressive across Lando Norris's nose. Not going to argue against that, but Magnussen out late on, and we might still get our point. I mean, Norris and Ocon now going side by side. Please don't do this now, lads. Don't now let me build up a 3-second lead after all of this late on in the day. I mean, what are they doing? How have we opened up 3 seconds in a sector here? 2 laps to go. We've got to go full qualifying style still. Another one. Thanks, Mark. Mark, we've already got 2, mate. Let's just, I mean, this could happen now, looking at that gap. Starting the final lap then of the Australian Grand Prix, and the only thing I can think of is that Ocon's tyres have absolutely hit the cliff there. The gap up to almost 5 seconds to the Alpines, so we are effectively still racing these cars. If they go side by side again, which they might well do, we have got an opportunity here. Even if we get it up to 5.5, say, over Ocon, it might mean that we've got enough over Lando or Pierre, because I will absolutely take getting one of them. But I would love, somehow, to get all 3. Imagine if we build up 6 seconds worth of advantage in the final couple of laps here. We are just giving it everything she's got. Like I said, all it requires is Ocon and Norris to go side by side once more in this race. The AI just lose so much time. Sergio Perez, though, out of the final corner, lapping cars. We don't see that very often inside F123. A dominant display by the Red Bull and the Mexican this weekend, as he will take his 2nd win of the season and open up that championship lead. I think it's going to be Carlos Sainz there with another P2. Really has been consistent at the start of this new season as the Spaniard, but Ocon just trying to hang on from Lando Norris in towards the final few corners, and I think he will just about do enough when all is said and done there. There was a sense of hope for a lap or so right towards the end, but out of the final corner, it's P7 on the road, but it's only going to be P10.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Another superb Australian Grand Prix comes to an end then, and it's a thoroughly deserved victory. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I feel consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. So let's review the driver's standings. A result that will make Sergio Perez happy as he pushes his championship lead out even further. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
Let's move on to the constructors. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Australian Grand Prix, and I don't quite know how Verstappen's got driver of the day. Then mine would have to be Esteban Ocon. A fantastic drive by him there. But Perez, pole position, fastest lap, race victory. Bish bash bosh, done here in the Lando Under, beating out Sainz and George Russell to the top 3. Verstappen ahead of Piastri, Charles Leclerc, Norris, Ocon, Norris, Gasly, and myself. They're rounding out the top 10. Yeah, like I said, I never expected to be still within the fight after I picked up the first penalty, but hurts a little bit the second one, and if that isn't a good lesson inside F123, I don't know what is there. Drop down to P10 overall in the Drivers' Championship once more, as Perez now with an 18-point lead over Carlos Sainz, but Verstappen and Russell tied 31 points back already there, as it does feel like a lot of big names have had a mechanical failure early on this season. Albon down in 16th place. I know we had mechanical issues this weekend, but I want to see him fight for points as we get more and more upgrades on the car, and with that result, we drop down to 7th there, as I really do struggle to see a way Alfa Romeo, Williams, AlphaTauri or Haas are able to score points this season. Red Bull 21 clear at the top of the constructors though. Mercedes 30 back from Ferrari there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And we will be back tomorrow then when Formula 1 makes its return to the Shanghai Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss that. Always a brilliant track. Always some great racing.